Come make a D&D stat block with me. I'm Carter, the friendly penguin, and today we'll make Superman, the Man of Steel in D&D. Let's get into Superman's stats. Now, a little note before we get into this, we cannot perfectly recreate Superman in Dungeons & Dragons. We can get as close as possible. We are adapting him to the system. In reality, things like his speed, honestly his strength, and all of these things are much higher, but, there are certain limits in the system that make him actually practical to use on a table. So, let's get into it. Superman is a medium humanoid. He is lawful good. His AC is 29, which is his dex and con added to 10. His initiative is plus 24. His HP is 435. He has 30 d8 plus 300. His speed is 120 feet, and his fly is also 120 feet. He has a strength of 30, a dex of 29, because he is stronger than he is fast. His con is 30. His intelligence is 21, which many people think Superman isn't very smart. He is incredibly smart. He can read incredibly fast. He has lots of knowledge. His wisdom is 22 and his charisma is 24. He is proficient in athletics, insight, perception, and persuasion. Let's talk his resistances and immunities. Superman, many people who read comics will know that Superman is vulnerable, I put vulnerable in quotation marks, to magic. Vulnerability in terms of like everyday usage in comics is different than what we would consider vulnerability in Dungeons and Dragons. Better word to use would be susceptible, right? Superman would not take extra damage like the term vulnerability means in Dungeons and Dragons. It just means that he can take damage from those sources. He is no more impervious to them than the standard person. First off, his resistances. He is resistant to lightning and thunder. He's not immune to those sources because we see different sources like Shazam's lightning or Black Canary's cry, which would be lightning and thunder damage, hurt Superman in the past. However, he is immune to acid, cold, fire, poison, the rest of the elemental damages. He's also immune to radiant damage because sun. He's also immune to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks and the poison condition. I specify non-magical attacks because we've seen how magical weapons in the comics like Aquaman's trident or Wonder Woman's sword has affected him in the past. In terms of his senses, he has 240 feet of true sight, which is basically the equivalent of X-ray vision in Dungeons and Dragons. And Superman is a CR30 creature because he's Superman. Let's talk about his traits. Now, Superman, of course, has legendary resistances. He has 6 a day, and he also has a trait called the Last Son of Krypton. Now, the Last Son of Krypton is essentially just his powers, which states that if he is in presence of yellow sun radiation or from a magical effect that creates yellow sun radiation, like the daylight spell, he regains hit points, he has regeneration, and of course, if he were to be damaged by an effect that creates that sort of damage, he actually absorbs the damage and regains those hit points. Superman is immune to the effects of extreme temperature and pressure and does not need to sleep, eat, drink, or breathe. He also has super evasion, which is essentially regular evasion, which is if he's subjected to an effect that creates a dex save, he takes half damage if he fails to save and no damage if he succeeds, as Superman sort of just zips out the way. Superman also has a trait called Kryptonian weaknesses, which basically explains his weaknesses to green kryptonite and red sun radiation. In the case where he is exposed to those two things, he loses all his resistances and immunities. He gains disadvantage on any d20 rolls, and he loses the benefits of the previous 2 traits. In addition to that, every minute he is exposed to green kryptonite, specifically, he gains 1 level of exhaustion. These are his actions and bonus actions. Actions, he has multi-attack, which is Kryptonian Slam, and Heat Vision, which is just sort of, Kryptonian Slam is just his slam or punch attack. Kryptonian Slam deals force damage, a bunch of force damage, because at this level, the might of the punches are so strong it is not just normal bludgeoning damage, it is actual force damage. And then his Heat Vision, which has a reach of 600 feet, which is, you can really hit anyone with the Heat Vision if you can see them, and it deals both force and fire damage because it is a Heat Vision, but it also deals concussive physical force as well as it hits people. He also has his Frost Breath, which is essentially just Cone of Cold, which is on a recharge. He also has a bonus action. He has basically cunning action, except he can also take the help action, as Superman can sort of just zip around the battlefield and help his allies. Superman also has a fun reaction called the Man of Tomorrow, which says that in response to an attack roll made against a target besides the Man of Steel, besides himself within 120 feet, Superman can move to the target's location without provoking any opportunity attacks and interpose himself between the attack and the initial target, forcing the attack to target him instead. The initial target is moved to a point within 5 feet of Superman. And lastly, we have his legendary actions. Superman has 3 legendary actions. Ooh, I'm realizing that I have not changed the wording on this. One moment. Superman has 3 legendary actions he can use each turn, the first of which he can only use once each turn, but it is called Solitude Slam. It is basically his ground pound attack. He can launch into the air and land on a point within 60 feet, and each creature in a 30-foot emanation must make a dex save or take a bunch of force damage and not be knocked prone. And if they succeed on the save, they only take half damage. Another legendary action he has is just Justice, which basically allows him to make a Kryptonian Slam attack or Heat Vision attack. And his last legendary action is Speeding Bullet, which basically lets him move half his movement speed without provoking any opportunity attacks. And here is the final stat block. Do you think your D&D party can defeat Superman? Let me know in the comments below.